Every creative person, every artist, every musician has the how and the what of their craft. And there's also the question of why. Why do you design? Why do you do it? Seth, Aaron, you're the Project Runway Season 7 and the All-Stars winner. And just to get us rolling a little bit, I wanted to ask you, you've just come off of a whirlwind from your Project Runway experience, and have you caught your breath yet?
Yeah. The first time was a whirlwind,
Right.
because it was new.
Yeah.
This time it was like every day. So,
Really?
yeah, it wasn't the same. It was a totally different experience, and a different feeling afterwards. So
Right.
Today's about business.
Today's about business.
Yeah.
How has your life changed from the first Project Runway experience, and how is it much different now? How are the two experiences different for you?
Well, I think the first time really, it's about sharing what you do with viewers, with the public. You go into this as an unknown designer, and suddenly you're projected to millions of people. So the first experience is about letting people know who you are, get to know you, get to know your work. I receive emails from all over the world. The shows in China, Russia, Sweden. I have a huge fan base in Europe.
Nice.
So that's what the first time was about. And then you come off that and you have a real direction. Some do, I did. And you get experience, you get better at what you do. So the second time around for me is about business. It's the reason I did it. Well, no wait, I take that back. First reason I did it is because I wanted the title, both of them.
Yeah.
And that was flat, that was it. I didn't care about prizes, I didn't care about anything, I just wanted the second title.
Yeah.
I always say, contracts, money comes and goes. Title, they can never take it away. It's permanent. So for me, it was about getting that title. I wanted it for myself. I was greedy.
Yeah.
But everyone else there wanted it as well. I was just fortunate that it worked for me. And and secondly is business. I've plateaued to a point where here I am and that stopped. I'm never. It's factories. The hardest part of having a clothing label or designing is the infrastructure, which is your factory, which is your supporters, your retailers. That's not easily grabbed, and they're not throwing that at you. It takes a lot of, you make opportunities. They're not handed to you,
Right.
especially after coming off of winning Project Runway. You expect a lot more is expected out of you, so the level is elevated.
A lot more is at stake, probably. Too.
Yeah, definitely. You got to make wise decisions. There's right opportunities. I explore every opportunity, but there's always, some are right, some aren't. So coming off All Stars, my goal was to establish a retailer, manufacturer, and take that label to the next level. Right now I have a black label.
Well, what are some of those other benchmarks in your fashion career? Because you had the Project Runway, those are obvious. Do you have anything else that happened to you that really solidified this for you, or took your career in a direction that it might not have gone? Is it pretty much Project Runway? Those are the big benchmarks?
That's the big benchmarks, because that's a platform for success.
Yeah.
Now, a lot
But
of
you're not
people
an
think-
overnight success, are you?
No, no one is. And people often ask, wow, you know, being on that show, they really give you everything.
Mm-hmm.
Untrue. They'll support you
Yeah.
as far as, you know, or direct you, but they're not handing you contracts. That's not their job. Their job is to make a television show.
Yeah.
And people are a lot of times, I guess, misunderstand the purpose. It's a platform for success, and it's what you make of it. Any direction, you make the opportunities. So
Yeah, so it wasn't
even
overnight.
after, yeah, no, it's 20 times harder, more work than before you were on the show. You know, you work this hard to get there, and then after, it's 20 times harder than that to succeed. It's not an easy industry. Kristen Siriano,
Yeah.
business smart, that was on his side. People are all like, oh, well, that's because Weinstein supported you or gave you everything. Heidi Klum. It's not true. Yeah, they supported him, just like they support me. But he made those opportunities, and he worked his ass off to get there.
Yeah, that was
And
nice.
it really paid off. Smart. He's probably the smartest person that's come off that show, business-wise.
Yeah.
And he didn't go into the whole Hollywood limelight thing. No, he went back to work and made a business. So that's me now. That's where
Yeah.
I'm at.
How do you deal with making those kinds of decisions to optimize on your opportunities? Do you have a mentor in the design world, or someone who may have really optimized their reality show win experience, or maybe someone in the fashion world? Do you have someone like that who guided you through this? Because it could be a sea of
Honestly,
opportunity.
Tim Gunn has been a huge influence on my design and my decisions. You know, he's been in the industry forever. You know, he taught at Parsons for 29 years. You know, he's the chief, and was CEO of Liz Claiborne.
Yeah.
You know, he's the guru of American fashion, and you know, he has a lot of wise words. So I really look to. It's almost like, you know, what would Tim do? You know what I mean? That kind of philosophy.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not. It comes from, as he puts it, your viscera. It
Yes.
comes from my gut. Is it right or is it not?
Good.
It needs to be the right time. I mean, I auditioned several times,
Okay.
and each time Tim would give me advice, and he would say, you know, you need to work on this. Okay. I went and worked on it. Come back, and he goes, wow, well, you mastered that. Now here's what you need to do. It's like he was like developing me into. He goes, when the time will be right for you. And he said this the time before I got on. The time will be right for you. He goes, you've really mastered. He goes, but I don't want to put you on this show unless you're going to win. Don't waste your opportunity. You might feel you're ready, and I felt I was ready from the first time I auditioned. I look back, I wasn't ready. I only made a couple episodes, and then I've been next. What a wasted opportunity. Last time I walked in the door, and Tim's face lit up, and he goes, you're ready. Before we ever did the interview, you know, he knew. And at the end, he goes, it's your time. You're going on.
What a
Or
great
putting you
mentor.
through. Yeah, he was just phenomenal. But he knew when I was ready. And that's when I went on it. He goes, I told you, when it's time's right, you'll win.
Yeah.
And he was right. You could like see it develop. And I really, you know, like I'm watching my son develop his film. You know, I can see his, you know, what Tim sees in a way, you know, like understand why he says certain things or does certain things. So, yeah, that would be my advice.
Will you be part of Tim Gunn's Under the Gun show?
We'll find out now, won't we? So I always say I don't design, you know, inspiration. People use inspiration for objects for inspiration. I don't design off of objects ever. I design off of emotion and memories. And that's it.
And memories.
Memories.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of something that you might have designed with a specific tangible memory that you had in mind?
Well, I mean, it can be just a memory of a sunny day in San Diego. The mood I was in when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just certain memories, and that puts me in the mood of the design.
Nice.
And then I just go off the gut. I listen to music, and music's my number one inspiration. And people are like, how do you use music as inspiration for clothing? Because of those stories I tell you I play in my head as a kid. So I'm listening to a song, for example, and I listen to the lyrics. The beat, everything puts you in the mood. But the lyrics are key because I'm thinking about who are they singing about? What do they look like? Where are they going? Where do they live? What do they like to drink?
Mm-hmm.
And that's who I design for. So it's my own fantasy world in my head, but inspired by this song that this person I just totally made up based off the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I design. You know?
Can you describe, you started talking about it with the music, but can you describe your creative process? Does something speak to you, or do you say, okay, now I'm going to design a dress? Or do you wait for inspiration to come? Do you draw? Do you use a computer? What's your...
I sketch.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I've drawn. My father was a cartoonist.
Nice.
And so, and it shows a lot in my clothes, you know, they can be cartoony in a way. I like it, you know, pop art.
Yeah.
You know, I love Andy Warhol. I love those kinds of pieces,
Yeah.
that type of art. Very graphic.
Mm-hmm.
Graphic is what I like. So, I mean, I sketch a lot, and I can draw, like, the best of them, but most of the time I don't sketch. I mean, at this point with a manufacturer, I have to sketch an idea
Mm-hmm.
and submit it to them, you know. And then from there I make a sample and so on, down the list. But like on Runway, I didn't sketch. I think during season 7 I sketched like 3 sketches the entire season of the garments.
Is that unusual?
No.
Okay.
No, I'll just pick, like I said, this fabric, when I go into a fabric store, it's like, it talks, like, that red wool is going to be this. And it's in here what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
That is going to be this. And then I get to the room and then I make it. It's not like I have this sketch and I look at it and go, okay, the sleeve's going to be, you know, even if I sketch, I just chuck it because you're in that motion, that mood to create what you visualize.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my process, is what am I in the mood to design, and you know, knowing what fabric is supposed to do and what it shouldn't do. So sometimes I defy that and try to make it do what it's not supposed to do, and a lot of times it works. But I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I know it's not supposed to, but then, you know, that's a part of the design, just being educated and experienced with textiles and techniques, you know, makes a huge difference.
What can you offer a person who, for whom creativity doesn't come as easily? Is there a way to be more creative, or to attempt to raise your creativity level by doing certain things? Or, I mean, is it work related, or how can a person be more creative? Is that possible?
I don't know. This is the way I am. You know, everybody's different, and I always say everybody's good at least one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That happens to be mine. You know, anybody can learn how to sew.
Yeah.
They're never going to be a fashion designer. going to be a apparel designer.
Mm-hmm.
I can go learn how to play a guitar. I'm not going to be a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
I might play a guitar very well, but I'm just playing a guitar. So, you know, certain people are born to play a guitar and be a rock star, and certain people are born to make clothes. And certain people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would. The biggest thing, I guess, or suggestion I can make is undo what you've learned. Like, and that plays into, okay, I go to college and they teach me this is the way you drape a dress, or this is the way you cut. And in the end, you got a nice coat.
Yeah.
Undo everything that you're taught and use your gut and do it. In the end, you got fashion.
Right.
See, it's different. Go to school, learn how to make apparel. Those are skills, you know, which that's one thing I wish I would even been speedier if I would have taken a course, or, you know, or went to school and were taught how to draft a coat.
Yeah.
But when you get to the world, you got to put your stamp on it. Don't follow the rules. Break them. Experiment. That's how you elevate your creativity. Because if I just take this pattern and I just go off this pattern, in the end I have a beautiful coat made off that pattern. Fuck the pattern, take the fabric, make a coat, and in the end you got something original.
Would you say that you should learn those rules and work within those
Absolutely.
rules first in order to break them, rather than just,
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, some people maybe.
you know, like theory, knowing your theory? and
Yeah, I
like
mean,
that?
skill set is, execution is everything. You can have the greatest idea in the world, but if it's not executed well, it's crappy. You know, it's crap. And then you could have the worst idea in the world, but if it's executed properly, it can be the greatest, you know? So skill set is major. I taught myself how to sew by buying vintage patterns. 40s, 50s, even 60s. Because back, the 40s patterns, they didn't have, synthetic was just introduced, it wasn't around. We didn't have stretchy fabrics, we had woven, hard.
Mm-hmm.
So everything had to be precise and everything had ease. So now you take that mindset of everything was perfectly tailored and fitted and put it in today's fabric. You got a very tight fitting but comfortable, loose, you know.
Wow, that's like a master class right there. What you
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So that's how I taught myself. People, I often ask, how did you learn how to tailor, not going to school or not? That's how I learned. Vintage
Wow,
patterns.
that's good advice right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So, you know, and give and take. And I didn't. One thing: never follow the pattern. I mean, look at the pictures, but the pattern's always wrong. You know, it's like every
Wow.
pattern I've ever used, it said do this, 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 and this, and I'm like, this should have been done back in number 2, not number 6.
Mhm.
They're always backwards, so I just visually go off. That's how I did it. You know, I didn't read, okay, stitch, blah, 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 blah. I looked at the picture and said this and this together, and I put it together and I sewed it. So it's just kind of trial and error, but again, it just comes off of what feels right.
We talked about some advice for young designers, but what about someone wanting to take the reality show Project Runway route? Do you have any advice for someone trying to go
Yeah.
that right? To go
I
that
cast
route,
I
right?
cast Runway now.
You do.
Season 8, I cast Mondo, I cast Victor Luna, I cast Michelle.
Awesome.
I
Love Mondo.
Yeah, he's a really good friend of mine. I mean, he texted me last week. We text each other a couple of times a month or talk. But I mean, what I look for when people come in for an audition is, you know, do they know who they are? What's their voice in what they're making? You know what I mean? Like I said, I see beautiful tailored clothes, but who made it looks like it's hanging in a department store.
Mm-hmm.
It's sellable. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's, who is it? Who are you?
Yeah.
So I really look for point of view, their passion for what they do. So
Mhm.
you need to be confident, not a jerk, confident on what you do, and be able to explain what you do or why you do it. You know, and frankly, nice people go farther.
Nice people go farther.
Yeah, if you have all those elements, you know, you could be a jerk and make great TV. But you're not gonna win.
Mm.
You need to respect
Yeah.
around you. You can have an opinion. You can say that looks like shit. You say mine looks like shit. It's fine. That's your opinion.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be a jerk when you do it, right? So I think integrity and respect get you far on the show.
That's good to know.
Or it did me anyways,
Yeah.
twice. So
Yeah.
I would give that advice.